Hello everybody, welcome again to my YouTube channel. Are you that person who loves to travel? Are you in Kenya? Are you in Tanzania? Are you in East Africa? Are you in Africa? Or are you away from Africa? Now this video is for you. Now if you are a traveler or planning to travel, remember you need to have a valid travel document or you need a passport. Now if you are planning to travel within East Africa countries, you will need to prove a yellow card fever. This is a document that you are given after you have been immunized against the yellow fever. Now for a Kenyan traveling to Tanzania or vis-a-vis, you do not have to pay for any visa, or you're going to Uganda, you do not have to pay for any visa. But on your travel document, or rather your passport, you are going to be stamped an entry, or rather you're going to have an entry or rather an exit stamp. Yeah, that is what you need to know. Now, if traveling from a non-East Africa country, remember to check the immigration website for the country you are going to. Check for more details. Now in today's video, why have I decided to pick on Kenya, Tanzania? Remember in Kenya, or rather Kenya and Tanzania, we do share a lot in common. Remember we speak Kiswahili, although our Kiswahili it's not that perfect, but depending where you are coming from, because we also share a coastline. So for people who live in the Kenyan coast, they speak very nice Kiswahili. If you go to Tanzania, the people also, they speak very nice Kiswahili. That is one of the things we do share. Apart from all the security, the education, among that we do share a lot. Now remember, Kenya and Tanzania have maintained close relations for over many years, founded on similar ideas in areas such as the rule of law, fundamental freedoms, social and economic order, and good governance, and with a special focus on economic and financial market issues. Now, when I say that, remember we also got many people who go to Tanzania, get some products, come and sell in Kenya. There are some people who come to Kenya, get some products, they go and sell into Tanzania. So that is what I am talking about. We also have a coastline in Kenya. Tanzania also have a coastline, and that is where you're going to find the beautiful city of Dar es Salaam, and also you can cross over using a sailboat all the way to Zanzibar. So for people who love to have those getaways, maybe on a honeymoon, then that is the perfect place to go. Okay, all this I'm talking about, remember, Uganda is part of it because it is also an East African country. They are among the three countries that form the East Africa: Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. Someone would be like, how do you travel, or rather how do you get to these African countries, or rather East Africa countries? Remember, wherever you are, we got air. You can come into Kenya via air, road, ocean. Yeah. You can actually go, okay, we're talking about Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda. Now, if you have to go to Tanzania, you can use air, you can use road. The same thing applies to Uganda, that is from Kenya, or from Tanzania into Kenya, from Tanzania into Uganda to Rwanda, and all that. Now, this is where my problem is. If you have to travel to Tanzania by road, oh my God, you really need to wake up very early. Because if you are going to use a bus, let's say you are in Nairobi, if you're going to use a bus, remember you have to be at that stage, because immediately at 5 a.m. in the morning, that bus is taking off. It is like a flight. The bus is taking off. So if you are residing at a very far place, let's say it is going to take you an hour to get into town, consider the time you're going to wake up to prepare and all that, so that by 4:30, you should be seated in the bus, because the first bus leaves at 5 a.m. in the morning. The second one will leave at 5:30, 7:30. In Mombasa, we even got a bus that will leave at 11 a.m. So if you're going to Dar es Salaam, my friend, you're going to have a hectic time, because that night you're not going to sleep. You'll be all preparing for the journey to Dar. Now, for me, for 15 hours journey, 16 hours journey, I'm telling you, God needs to do something. If I have to go to Dar es Salaam, I'm prophesizing this. I am going to fly into Dar es Salaam, or rather Arusha. Okay, Arusha is not that far from where I am currently. Another thing you need to know, crossing borders. I said if you are in Mombasa and you're going to Dar es Salaam, you are Kenya going to Dar es Salaam, the first border you're going to encounter, that is at the Lunga Lunga. So at that border, that is where you're going to have your travel document, you're going to have your passport stamped, the entry and exit. It doesn't matter, maybe you are exiting Kenya or you're entering. Okay, definitely if you're going to another country, you are exiting this country, entering the other one. So that is where you're going to have all your paperwork done before getting into the other country. And then another thing you really need to know, if you're that person, you're traveling for leisure and all that, it is always good to travel light. Yeah, travel light. Another thing, at the border, remember to change some currency. If you're going into Uganda, remember to change into some Ugandan currency, Uganda shilling. If you're going to get into Tanzania, remember to change some currency into Tanzanian currency. Why am I saying this? Because along the way, you might just get hungry and the bus, at least the bus, I remember it stops like thrice before you get into Dar es Salaam. That is for, you can have a meal, you can take a quick bite, you can take some tea. In those places, let's say if you are Kenyan, in Kenya you can use cash, you can use what we have, M-Pesa, Airtel money. And some of us, like for my case, I rarely come across the real money. I mostly use M-Pesa. So if I'm going to Tanzania, you just have to withdraw money and also exchange to Tanzania shillings, to Uganda shillings, because you might need to pay for your food. In that bus, you might just have to get some snacks. And there are some buses, or rather where they stop, sometimes the washrooms, you just have to pay for it. So it is always good to have a little bit of currency along the way, and then you can change if you're going to be in Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda for a long period of time. Then you can go to the bureau and change your currency, to cater for your stay in those countries. Now for East Africa, you will have, as I said, an exit and entry stamp on your passport, and also it shows the number of days that you are going to be in that country, or rather it shows if you are on transit. So if you're entering Tanzania, remember there are few immigration checks, especially while entering Tanzania. Twice I have been into Tanzania, and I can tell you, as you drive past several towns within this country, you are going to experience a lot of notice board, or rather warnings that are reminding you to keep the environment clean. Tanzania and Kenya, it's one of, or rather two countries that have banned plastic bags. So if you are flying into Tanzania, flying into Kenya, or you are using bus, just avoid the plastic bags. They're not allowed in these countries, Kenya and Tanzania. They're not allowed into it. Like you want to go to a shopping mall and you have your plastic bag, you want to do your shopping, it is not allowed. Okay? Now another thing I really would want you to know. These are some of the questions most people do ask, that is Kenya or Tanzania safe? Sometimes I listen to these questions and I'm like, okay, duh. Okay, both Kenya and Tanzania are safe and enjoyable countries to travel in. Oh my God, I can't wait to be back at the Coco Beach, the Oyster Bay side, the Masaki side, Kigamboni side. I tell you, Tanzania is just a vibe. So Tanzania is often thought to be safer, but from my own experience, both Kenya and Tanzania are safe to travel with friendly and warm locals, okay? You come to Kenya, as somebody from outside Africa, you're going to receive some warm reception, and then you just need to take standard precautions, because most countries, I do believe if you are coming from non-African countries where you are coming from, we also have some issues of insecurity. So while traveling in these countries, just avoid going alone, doing trips in lonely places. That way you are going to be safe. And then someone will be like, okay, if you prefer a metropolitan lifestyle with a vibrant international feel, Nairobi is your city. If you enjoy a slower pace with a beach vibe and historical charm, then Dar es Salaam is for you. Both cities have their own unique advantages and charm, making them worth a visit. Okay, so remember, when you come to Kenya, remember to visit the coastal line. Remember, when you go to Tanzania, don't forget to visit Arusha. Now, talking about Arusha. Do I mention about Arusha now? All right, wait. So someone was like, let me wait. It's coming up after this. Is Dar es Salaam developed than Nairobi? Okay. Nairobi is just another thing. Nairobi, for sure, it just offers a more modern, fast-paced city vibe with advanced infrastructure. Someone would say Nairobi better English proficiency, but to see Tanzania better Kiswahili proficiency. I was in Swahili and guys are still laughing at me. They're still laughing at my blogs. You listen to the president of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu, you listen to her speaking Kiswahili and you're like, oh my God, it is like that sweet lullaby song. It's just nice. So Dar es Salaam, on the other hand, provides a unique blend of historical and coastal influence, relaxed atmosphere and warm weather. This is in comparison to Nairobi, okay? So what are some of the main attractions in Tanzania? Remember, Tanzania is home to one of Africa's most magnificent game reserves. It's seemingly endless plains on the Serengeti, where one of the world's greatest natural spectacles, the annual migration of some 2 million wildebeest, followed by the predators, can be observed. Yeah, and you're going to find them on the Kenyan side too. That is why I said Kenya and Tanzania, we do share quite a lot. And then someone is like, okay, can I access banking services in Tanzania and Kenya? Yeah, you're going to find most of the services you need if you want to withdraw money from either service to either service. You're going to have it in these countries. Remember, Uganda is part of it. I'm not going to let Uganda just be there. Okay, as I said, remember, if you go to Tanzania, remember Kiswahili is mostly and widely spoken. If you come to Kenya, Kiswahili is widely spoken, yeah, but English is mostly spoken. Kiswahili chetu kidogo kina matatizo, unless you are along the Kenyan coast. I wouldn't want even to go there. Now, let us talk about Arusha as we finalize this video. Arusha is the gateway to Tanzania's northern circuit. Perched under Mount Meru and surrounded by coffee plantations and flower farms, Arusha is the starting point for many Tanzanian safaris and the best town for Kilimanjaro climbs. So if you are planning to go to Arusha, ensure you get a good budget. Okay, now if you're traveling, because I had someone say that I had someone say that accommodation in Dar es Salaam is expensive. I'm against that. I oppose that. What I say, it all depends on what you want. Just like Nairobi, it depends on what you want. Just like in Kampala, it depends on what you want. If you're in Dar es Salaam, within the city, you can actually get accommodation for, that is $10 a night, that is 20,000 Tanzanian shillings. You go to Uganda, you can still get accommodation within town for $10. You go to Nairobi CBD, you can still get accommodation for $10. And if you want to be on the higher side, you are even going to pay accommodation for, let's say, $800 a night. Be it in Tanzania, be it in Kenya, be it in Uganda. So when it comes to accommodation, I feel it is up to you to decide what you want. You can get a very nice house in Dar es Salaam, in Arusha, that will be like $35. Some case with Nairobi, some case with Mombasa, some case with Kampala, $35, $50, $70, $140, $300, as I said, $800. It all depends with what you want, okay? So it is that time of the year that you really need to have your bags checked, passport checked, and then prepare to come and enjoy some warm weather right here in Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. Okay, see you in the next. Bye for now.